Hey folks, Dr. Bob McCauley. You can go 3 weeks without eating. You can go 3 days without water. You can go 3 minutes without air. So it is very, very important that what we put into our bodies through our lungs is clean. This is an air purifier. It's called the Home Pure, and that's what we're going to talk about today. Okay, this is the Home Pure Air Purifier. I've been selling these for many, many years. There's been a few different variations on the market. These are just great units. I think they're just a necessity for every single house. I think everybody should own one. Just like a water ionizer, I think everybody should own a water ionizer. But these units, this is a really, really good one. Again, as I said, I've sold them for many, many years. It's really good quality wood and everything. But what you've got here is you've got 5 different types of air filtration and purification all built into one unit. You can't see it up here, but here's a negative ion generator. So what they do is generate negative ions in the air. What I tell you guys all the time is that we want to live in a negative ion environment. You get into a shower that's negative ions, you feel a little better. You get by a waterfall, you go by the seashore. Those are all negative ion, high negative ion environment places. If you get into inside in a box called a house during the winter and you shut all the windows, you will build up all these positive ions, and it leads to a lot of problems. Sometimes you get the blues, depression, that kind of stuff during the winter months and stuff. The lack of negative ions in the air is a big reason for that. So that kind of, it's a longer story than that about negative ions, but it's very important. We want the negative stuff. Negative ions in water. For ionized water, it's the negative side, same as here. So negative ion generator here. Then what you've got inside, you've got a HEPA filter, an electrostatic filter, you've got a UV light, and then you've got an ozone generator, and this is really powerful ozone. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to turn this on, and the first thing you hear, here's the fan, and that's all you kind of hear is that, the fan. And then as I begin to turn it up, now you can hear that kind of buzzing. That's ozone. And I got to tell you something, this generates a lot of ozone. Ozone is absolutely amazing stuff. I'm going to describe that in detail in just a moment. But that's what's going on there, and I'll mention this again later in the video, but I take this, put it against my intake register of my house, you know, the cooling air or the hot air, wherever the intake of your cooling system is and heating system in the house is, and then it'll draw in the ozone. So I turn on the ozone, and then I put it against the plate like that, or against the register, and then it just draws in all the ozone and distributes it throughout the house. So that's a really good way to do that. But a lot of people don't think of it in those terms, but that's how you get distributed. You get it ozone into the ductwork in your house to kill all the mold that may have gotten in there or anything. So it's a way of purifying the entire house. This will easily do about a 2,500 square foot house with the amount of ozone in there. Ozone, just a caution, you don't want it too strong. If you can breathe it, you want it, and you can smell it, you want to turn this thing off or down a lot, or maybe just off. And always remember your pets. You know, I got some cats, you know, the ozone is going to be very, very strong for them. It could hurt them. Okay, we're looking at the back of the unit here. You've got the fuse, the power supply. Then you've got the HEPA filter. That's what this filter is here. HEPA, high efficiency particle accumulator. And this just takes particles out of the air, junk out of the air, whatever it is, 1 micron or bigger. Okay, and this is washable. You can go anywhere from 1 year to 2. Some people even go 3 years with these. Of course, it always depends on, you know, how dirty your house or your business is, how much stuff you're taking out of the air. But that's what that's for. You got a couple of thumb screws here. You take those out, and then you got on the back of the unit. The back that we've got here, this is an electrostatic filter. So this is positively charged, and it's negatively charged, I'm sorry, and then it's going to grab onto positively charged dust in the air or other particles. It doesn't matter the size of the particle that comes through. So if something makes it through the first filter, the HEPA filter, this one here at 1 micron, and it's smaller, well, this will grab onto it. So it kind of like a magnetic charge just grabs on and hangs on. You just take this out and wash it, dry it real well before you put it back in the unit. So you really don't need to replace this one. Just keep it clean, just keep it washed. Then inside, what you've got here is a UV filter, ultraviolet. So ultraviolet kills any kind of bacteria, anything that gets in there, and you can switch this out about every year or two. But what is far more effective at killing bacteria, and what really does the cleansing and the air purification of anything in the house and destroys anything, are these ozone plates here. They just pull out, and what you've got is you've got air running over these, being pulled through a fan, and then you have and it's electrically charged, and so you're creating basically ozone over these. And what happens is, since it's electrically charged, the oxygen molecules come over this, they break apart, they come over the plate, break apart. There's one sitting there, and it grabs onto an oxygen molecule. So O2 becomes O3. You've heard about ozone being in the ozone layer and everything, but down here, after a rainstorm, or so, for instance, you'll smell this kind of ozone in the air. Well, this is kind of the Earth's way of purifying the air, or cleansing the air. You have that very distinct smell when you walk outside after an electrical storm. But that's what's going on here. Well, this is really strong stuff. This unit really puts out a lot of ozone, huge amount. What I generally do in my house is I take the front of the unit and I put it right against the intake register of my heating duct in my house, and cooling duct, and it draws it in, and it draws in the ozone throughout the entire house. So you're able to distribute that throughout the house. I will say that while you've got ozone on, if you can smell it, you should turn it off. You don't want to smell ozone. It is dangerous. I mean, you get really strong ozone in your house, it can cause, you kind of hear some kind of breathing here a little bit. It'll start to do that to you. I've had a bottled water business for many, many years, and we used to use ozone to disinfect the water. Well, you get a good whiff of that ozone. It's pretty strong. It's pretty amazing stuff, and it'll make you cough for a long, long time. But anyway, these plates just need to be cleaned. You clean them off with some vinegar, soap, and water, and put them back on a regular basis. So if your ozone layers levels drop, these are not clean enough. But ozone, absolutely amazing stuff. You just don't want to breathe it. If you've got pets in the house, make sure that it's, again, they're real small compared to a human, so they're going to be a lot more susceptible to this. If you have it on in a room, a friend of mine came back, and he said his room was full of, he lived in a basement, and a basement of this apartment building, and it smelled like mold really bad. I gave him one of those. I said, try it for the weekend. He just soaked the room in ozone, and the mold was gone within a couple days, that moldy smell. So ozone will destroy anything because it actually breaks apart the chemical. So you can actually destroy chemicals, smoke. You get smoke into material in particular, very hard to get out. This will take anything because, again, you're not covering up the scent. You are destroying it. You're not just, it's not like a perfume that you're putting out into the air just to cover up that smell. You are actually destroying it. You're breaking it down, and you're carbonizing it, and you're oxidizing it. And when I say carbonize, you're turning it into carbon molecules, because ozone is incredibly powerful stuff. You just don't want to breathe it in. Make sure your pets don't either. But for disinfection, somebody, for instance, maybe they got really sick and they had the flu. Well, they get over it, get into that room, and put on your Home Pure. And what you do is you just soak that room in ozone. Well, that'll make sure you get all the bacteria or viruses or yeast, mold, or fungus, whatever happened to be in there. It will be destroyed with the ozone. So that's a good thing to do to kind of disinfect a room. There it is, folks, the Home Pure Air Purifier with negative ion generator, ozone generator, HEPA filter, electrostatic filter, and an ultraviolet light disinfection. I love making these videos. It's like the most efficient, cheap way I've ever seen in my life to tell people about all natural health. You don't have to spend a ton on marketing. And here it is right in front of your eyes. So leave some comments. Don't forget to like and subscribe. See you next time, folks.